Ahoy there and welcome back to Project 380. In this video, I'm going to be installing a ramair induction kit to a Mark III. This is a joke, I like all MX5s. I've purchased this induction kit from Davefab. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Let's open this box up and see what we've got inside. Some fittings and some fitting instructions. A nice ramair air filter, a silicone coupler, and a solid aluminium induction pipe. First things first, before we get started, let's take it for a test rip. I'm not gonna lie, I really like it. It just hasn't got the feel or the character of a Mark I. Time to start installing it. First things first, pop the bonnet. This induction kit is not your typical style induction kit, so it doesn't replace just the airbox and filter. This one actually sits something like that, and the filter locates behind the front bumper, so you can get as much cold air in as possible, and it's nice away from the hot engine, so the intake temperatures are going to be a little bit lower. But that does mean removing that front bumper, so let's get it jacked up and on some axle stands. Safely up on some axle stands now, and to begin removing the bumper, we're going to go down into the wheel arches. I've turned the wheel for better access in the wheel arch, and in the wheel arch we need to remove 6 of these little pop clips, 4 up the side and 2 across. And then of course do the same to the other side. Underneath the bumper is a series of 8mm bolts, just remove them all the way along. In the front grille, there's a bit of plastic each side that could come out. Just use a flat screwdriver or a pry tool to get them out. And behind there is a 10mm bolt. Then if we peel back the arch liner, it's a bit hard to see, but up there is 1 bolt and 2 nuts, all 10mm, and they all need to be removed. Inside this arch liner, you will have to reach your hand in and unplug the fog lights. Whether you've got the fog lights or not, they do attach to the bumper. Then there's 8 10mm bolts all the way along the bumper inside the bonnet. Now carefully prise that bumper away. With the bumper out of the way, we can see the old stock cold air intake. We need to remove this, 2 10mm bolts and 1 pop clip. Now removing the old airbox, the first thing we want to do is disconnect the MAF sensor. The wiring is held onto this part of the airbox, so unclip that, but this one's already broken, and then squeeze and pull on the connector for the mass airflow. Don't pull on the wires, they are fragile. Then undo the hose clip here, this side of the mass airflow sensor. Unclip the airbox, and lift that up and out of the way. Remove the old air filter. The last part of the airbox is held on with 2 10mm nuts. The last thing we need to remove is this bit of plastic in here. That's held on with 8 pop clips, 4 at the front, 2 in here, and 1 underneath each headlight. You can remove the headlights to make that easier, but if you've got a thin enough pry tool, you can get underneath there and lever it up. Now to install the ramair induction pipe, slide it through that hole in the cross member with the pipe pointing up like this. Then once you're in, you can twist it down and push it into the intake pipe. Now we can see this bracket here will line up nicely with this hole in the chassis that used to hold a pop clip in it. The kit is supplied with a nut, bolt and washer, so you can poke that through the bracket and the cross member. It's a little bit fiddly to get the nut on, but it is down there. I found it easier if you remove this plastic nut and pulled this plastic tray out of the way a little bit to gain access to that nut. When you're doing up this nut, it's best to use an open-ended spanner. If you use a ring-ended spanner, you're not retrieving that spanner back. But once that pipe is sitting nicely in place, you can go ahead and do up that bolt. Retrieve the old mass airflow from the old airbox using a Phillips head screwdriver. Then you can install the mass airflow sensor onto the car. I've found it easiest if you plug the mass sensor in first. Slide it into the induction pipe. That'll only fit one way round. Then using the Allen bolts supplied in the kit, tighten that down. They are a 2.5mm Allen key. Just make sure you've got enough clearance for the MAF wires beside this box. Using a sharp pair of scissors, you could cut that plastic tray which came from here, so this could be reinstalled around that induction pipe. You will of course have 1 or 3 left over. A pop clip can't go back in here anymore because there's a bolt there, and it's completely up to you whether you want to reinstall the ones underneath the headlights. Now we can install the silicone coupler onto the induction pipe. Install that about halfway along, put the hose clip on and tighten that down. Then place the second hose clip on the silicone coupler and install the air filter. Make sure that butts up against the aluminium pipe nicely and do the hose clip up. Just look at how much cold air that filter's going to get. Nice low down to the ground, and there's a big open grille here that's going to give that air filter all the air it needs. Now the bumper could go back onto the car exactly the same way it came off. The Mark III has a self-learning ECU, but we now need to put that into self-relearn mode. This is going to allow the ECU to slowly learn that there's a new induction kit on it. Then you'll really get the most out of the induction kit. So to do that, we're going to start the engine up. And we're going to hold the revs between 4,000 and 5,000 revs. The revs will slowly drop back down by themselves and back down to idle. Then you can let your foot off the accelerator, turn the engine off and wait 30 seconds, start her back up again and take it for a test drive. Over the next few hundred miles, the ECU is going to self-learn itself and it should hopefully become more responsive. Let's go take it for a rip. The induction noise is so much better, and it seems to have a good amount of mid-range torque. In my opinion, well worth it. So that's a ramair induction kit from Davefab installed on a Mark III. If this video helped you install your induction kit, or just helped you remove your bumper, leave it down in the comments below. As per usual, like and share this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one. All that's left to do is to go and enjoy these induction noises. This is a joke, I like all MX5s.